Hello everybody, Dragon47 here, and today I am coming at you guys with a very spicy deck profile being Cosmo Dogmatika, piloted by Brandon, who also brought you the Exodia Mystic Mine and the Cyber Dragons.
Yeah, Exodia.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I went to a Star Charity event in Minneapolis this past weekend, and it was a sizable event. It was my first like regional size event. It had like 66 people, and I didn't really want to play something like meta or crazy. I wanted to play something fun because it was a charity event. And it was my first event, so I just kind of wanted to relax. I've been a big fan of Cosmos for a long time, and I've been trying to pair it with different archetypes to make it, more playable. I wouldn't say this deck is amazing, but I got top 16. I got exactly 16th place with this deck, and we can just get right into it. I will start with the Cosmo Engine, and then I'll do Dogmatika, and then we'll go into power cards, and then the rest of the stuff.
Nice.
So for Cosmo Engine, the way they work is that they have two kind of types of monsters. They have ships and pilots. So we'll start with the ships. So starting off, we have 3 Cosmo Dark Destroyer. This is literally the heart and soul of the Cosmo archetype. When it's summoned, doesn't matter how, you just target a monster on the field, destroy it. You can even target your own. When the ships are destroyed, they all have the same effect. They're destroyed by anywhere, they will banish themselves from the graveyard as cost to summon a different Cosmo from your deck with a level less than or lower. So since this is 8, it would be 7 or lower. So you can even target itself, destroy it, and then banish from the graveyard something else, summon something else from your deck. This used to be really relevant back in the day because your opponent can't target it. It kind of comes up now, but there's so much like non-targeting removal now that it really doesn't matter. Thanks, Dragoon. It's really important. This enables interaction. It enables OTKs. It's just really important in the deck. Unfortunately, I don't have first eds. Those are expensive. 2 Slip Rider. I've seen a lot of lists run one of this, but the second one has actually come up for me. It's similar to Dark Destroy, except you can target it, but when it's summoned, you just destroy a spell and trap. You can destroy your own. We can get into the synergies with that later on in the profile. I play 1 Dark Eclipser. This is probably the least performing one. Theoretically, it's really nice because its effect, besides when it's destroyed, is you can banish a Cosmo from the graveyard to negate the activation of a trap. So, in conjunction with one of the pilots, which I'll show later, it works really well against back row decks. But it honestly doesn't come up very often, and when it's destroyed, you add a Cosmo monster, not special summon, so it can be a little awkward sometimes. It's mostly there just as another big pilot. I mean, a big ship, sorry. 1 Forerunner, this is the other big ship that can't be targeted, as well as Dark Eclipser. During my standby phase, I gain 1,000 life points. It's nice to summon it on time and stuff, but I didn't go into it very often. Having different ships with different levels is really important because you can kind of like create a wall. So when this is destroyed, you'll summon this. When this is destroyed, you'll summon this. When this is destroyed, you summon one of the pilots. So you can just kind of keep yourself from getting OTK. That's it for the ships. We'll move on to the pilots. The most important pilot in a control variant like I'm currently playing is Tin Can. Yes, this card is really good. So all the pilots have the same effect, where it's a quick effect during any phase, doesn't matter. You banish it from the field as cost to summon a Cosmo monster that's 1 level or above than it. So in this case, it's 2 or above. So that's where the interruption with Dark Destroyer comes into play, because if I have this in hand and this on field, I can just summon it on their turn and pop something. So it's kind of a 2-card interruption. It's really not good in the current age of Yu-Gi-Oh, but it can still be pretty clutch. The reason why Tin Can is really important, because in the end phase, you pay 500 life points as cost to reveal 3 different Cosmo cards. You randomly add 1 to hand and the rest go to the graveyard. Right. So you pretty much always want to get Cosmo, Dark Destroyer, Eclipser, and then the next one I'm about to show you. And then if you get this, you fill up the grave for the trap negation. It never came up, honestly. 2 Cosmo Dark Lady. This is the third one you usually search off Tin Can, because this is a pilot that has a monster negate, and the monster negate is not a hard one to return, which is why I run 2. Most decks I see often use one of this, but the second one has come up, and if you get both out, this is technically Dolka, you know, it's not a hard one to return. So negate with one, negate with the other, pretty nice. 1 Cosmo Wicked Witch, she comes up pretty often, so you pay 1,000 life points, she cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So you can summon her off one of the ships, put her in defense position, pay, and then you just can't get OTK'd, unless they have some form of removal, obviously. But she's really nice, it's another level and another name. The reason why Cosmos are kind of awkward is because you need a good amount of pilots to supplement the ships and a good amount of ships to supplement the pilots. So it's just nice to have. 1 Farm Girl. Farm Girl is probably the second best pilot because she enables the OTKs. If she inflicts battle damage, 1500 isn't a lot, but we have a lot of removal. If she inflicts battle damage, pay 500 life points, search a Cosmo. So you just add Dark Destroyer, summon it during battle phase, destroy itself, summon something, keep attacking. It's just really, really good. We only need 1 because besides that, she's just a name and a pilot to summon, right? We only really get her if we know we're going to kill. 1 Strawman, kind of just another name and another level. It's nice because you can pay 500 to summon one of your banished Cosmos. Its effects are negated and it's destroyed during the end phase, so you can just summon back Dark Destroyer into a 3k beater. And then when it's destroyed, you summon, you know. That's it for the pilots. We have the SpellTrap Support for Cosmos, starting with the field spell Cosmo Town. This card is great and awkward at the same time. You reveal Cosmo monsters, shuffle them back in the deck, and draw the same number. You don't do it as cost, which is good, but it's often a pretty big ash target because it's like, oh hey, my opponent bricked. They want to put a bunch of Cosmos back in their deck. Let's just stop that. You can pay life points equal to the level of a Cosmo monster to add it back to hand. Really good in a control deck like this, and also really good against another control deck because it's usually a fight for card advantage, and this just gives me card advantage each turn while using my Cosmo effects each turn. I do burn, which can be rough in time, but you know, hopefully we can finish the game before it gets to that point. All the pilots are psychics, so this is where E-Tele comes into play. Oh, I forgot the last effect for Cosmo Town, the most important one. When it's destroyed, you get to add a Cosmo card. So if you summon Slip Rider to pop it, you can just add any Cosmo card, including a trap, which we'll get to. But all the pilots are psychic, so E-Tele, pretty self-explanatory. Summon Tin Can. You can order what effects you want to use in the end phase, so before this forces you to banish Tin Can, you can resolve Tin Can, and then you can special summon a Cosmo from your hand to avoid this. It's pretty gross. Reasoning. So there's a lot of different levels in the deck, and the Cosmos need help summoning, so this kind of circumvents that. It's kind of awkward because you just call 8 or 1. Those are, you know, the most important ones being Dark Destroyer and Tin Can, but there's so many levels in the deck that every time I use this during the event, it resolved. I summoned something off of it.
Nice.
And I even summoned Shifter off
you
of
did?
it. Yeah, it was funny.
Wow.
It was really funny. Then we have 2 Cosmojo. So a lot of decks that I've seen only run 1 of this, but I like 2 because I run Trap Trick, and so this makes it a Trap Trick target, but it's non-targeting removal. So I figured Dragoon was going to be a really big problem going into this event. You know, a lot of decks can just slap Dragoon in without any consequence. So I wanted a way to help fight against that and other non-targeting things. I only saw Dragoon once, and I didn't even have a way to interact with it, thanks to Denko Seka. So, I mean, it didn't work the way I wanted it to, but it did come up, and it's a really good card. You non-target banish a card in the field or in their graveyard by simply destroying a Cosmo monster on the field. So it works really well with the ships, because if you destroy the ship, then you'll summon from the deck.
Yeah.
And it's just so much advantage, so much interaction. That's the Cosmo portion of the deck. Unfortunately, Cosmos aren't the best, but they're one of my favorites. To help circumvent that, I played the Dogmatika engine. So Cosmos have a problem with card advantage, and Dogmatika have a lot of really good card advantage. We have 1 Ecclesia, So this is the primary search target off Nadir. This does conflict with Tin Can because I only get one normal summon, obviously. But usually I want to summon Tin Can first to get the Cosmo Engine rolling, and then I use this as a follow-up play to either search Fleur de Lis or Punishment. I ran 3 during the event, but my other one's in my other deck, and I forgot to put it out. So I ran 3 of them, just so you know. I wanted to run 3 because I'm obviously going to search it a lot, but I also run Trap Trick. So if I search one, I still wanted the other one to be live with Trap Trick. The reason why there's only 2 right now is I cut it for other things, but I'll probably talk about deck changes at the end of this profile. I did run 3 for the event. There's just 2 right now. And then obviously the best card in the Dogmatika engine is Nadir.
Nadir.
Yeah, this is insane. So obviously Dogmatika use Intis to pop the opponent's cards while searching. With this, you can use Intis because you can target any card. So I can use it to pop Cosmo Town, search a Cosmo card, like Cosmojo to get additional interruption, or pop one of my ships after I've used its exhaust its effect, and then summon Cosmo Dark Lady from the deck to get a negate. There's so much interaction with the opponent as well as myself with the deck. So it's really interesting to have to choose what I want to pop, whether I want card advantage or whether I want to interact with my opponent. And oftentimes I went for the card advantage and it worked. It just worked really well. For power cards, help supplement. We really don't give a shit X, so we run Pot of Extravagance. Pot of Prosperity, sorry. I did think about Extravagance because it's a +1 opposed to this, but I like digging deep and getting literally any card I want in my deck, which is what Prosperity is good for. The have damage did stop me from killing somebody, but I did so much damage to them anyway that it honestly didn't even matter. Other than that, this card is insane. If you use this, you cannot do the Cosmo draw because you can't draw the same turn, but that's really whatever. Usually if you dig, you're going to get the Cosmo piece you need to unbrick your hand anyway, so it really wasn't that big of a deal. Pretty necessary. If you can't afford this, run Extrav. If you can't afford Extrav, don't play Cosmos. There are so many things you can spend your money and time on. Not Cosmos. I played Strike. So I thought about running Impermanence instead of this because I do burn myself a lot with Cosmo effects, and the 1500 is pretty steep on top of that. But I am glad I played this. Who cares about my life points? It's just another resource because one round I saw all 3 of these and I completely rammed my opponent with all 3 of them. It was really good. To work with Strike are 3 Torrential Tribute. So Torrential Tribute and Strike is basically like a 2-card break any board. Who cares what you have on your board except your goon?
Right.
But this is really good in this deck because not only am I blowing my opponent's board up, but I pop my ships, which get trigger effects when they're destroyed.
Right.
So not only am I wiping my board and interacting with them, but I'm getting card advantage myself. Works really well together.
Are those first hits?
Yeah, I think so. Well, one of them is. 2 of them are.
Nice.
Secret rares. And then probably the best card in the deck, not gonna lie, was Ice Dragon's Prison.
Yeah.
This is another card I thought about not running. I almost was gonna side deck it, but I am so glad I played it in the main. Even against non-mono type decks, it came up because they just have like some random thing that they summon from their extra deck that happens to work well with what's on their board. But even then, you can summon something from their graveyard to summon in defense position and stop yourself from, dying from battle damage. This just won me so many games. It's just such a good card. So good. And then we play 2 Trap Trick to help search the various normal traps in the deck, like IDP, like Torrential. Sure, they see you have it, but if you get like Cosmojo or Punishment or that, then you can just activate it whenever you want instead of them having to play into it. I wanted to run 2 because it's a hard once per turn. I might even run 1 in the future because this did not work as well as I wanted it to. Theoretically, it's another copy of any of one of my traps, and it's a consistency card. But it just didn't work as well as I wanted it to. I think it's still worth running because it's a consistency card and Cosmos need as much advantage as they can, but it's neither here nor there. I probably wouldn't be upset if I got rid of it. Then the last 2, they're unsleeved because I cut them. This is probably the worst card in the deck for me. Theoretically, this works really well. So It's just Monster Reborn, but in defense position. So
Right.
you target a monster in your graveyard, summon it in defense position. Works really well with Tin Can because you put the Cosmos that weren't chosen into your graveyard. So if they didn't choose Dark Destroyer, you just summon Dark Destroyer, get its pop effect. But it never came up. The only times I saw this was when I didn't have Tin Can, so it literally bricked. And then I always sided this out because the cards in my side deck were much more impactful. Theoretically, it works really well with Tin Can, but it just didn't. I didn't see it. I never wanted to see it. It just didn't work very well. So they're unsleeved because I literally just took them out of my deck right after the event. That was the main deck. I think it's like 46 cards or something. It's rough because Cosmos need a lot of cards to make the engine work, and there's not a lot of room if you want to keep it under 40. But the great thing about Prosperity is that you can run over 40 without hurting consistency too much. Obviously 40 is the most consistent regardless of Prosperity or not, but you know, I still got top 16 with it, so whatever. Side deck, I don't run hand traps in the main. I wanted all gas. I quotations on it because it's a control deck. Really not much gas, but Cosmos brick hard, so I didn't want to run hand traps to brick it even harder. The only one I would consider maining is either Gamma or Imperm, but Gamma already bricks, so you know, it's neither here nor there. So I put the hand traps in the side deck. The first being Shifter. Shifter, whenever I saw this, I didn't see it very often, but whenever I saw this, it won games. This card is so good. If your deck does not care about the graveyard for even one turn and you're able to run this, you should. Because it just blows out almost every deck in the format.
I agree.
It is so good. It conflicts with the Dogmatika version, but I mean the portion of the deck rather, but just the amount of advantage you get and just completely stopping your opponent makes it so worth. It works well with the Cosmos actually. Sure, they need to banish themselves from the graveyard to resolve, but Tin Can will banish all three rather than putting them in the graveyard. So then I can just add them back with Cosmo Town. Works really nicely. Then there's Droll. I don't really search on the opponent's turn, and this was mostly to stop Drytron and Dinosaurs, which I expected to see a lot of. I sided it in against those, but I never saw it, so whatever. Dark Ruler no more. It's a control deck, so I don't really care about OTKing them. I can, but I'd rather break their board and then set up my own control strategy. Never saw it. It is what it is. You know, 46 cards, woohoo. Back row removal is 1 Harpies and 2 Cosmic. I'm kind of iffy on Cosmic because I have a lot of burn in the deck already. The one time I actually saw Cosmic, I hit Waking. That was sick. And then 3 evenly matched. I've seen Cosmolists actually main deck this because you can manipulate your board to maximize this without your opponent expecting it, which is really nice. I think I only saw it once, and I did do that a little bit, but manipulating it wouldn't have really mattered. I could have just did this anyway, and it still won me against a control matchup. Fuck True Dracos. Extra deck doesn't really matter. You can kind of just run whatever you want. It's mostly Dogmatika targets, being Adagnister, Wind Pegasus.
Yeah.
It's protection, essentially. Then Omega to shuffle resources back. Really good with Ecclesia, even though you can add back from the graveyard. Really good with punishment, you know, so you can keep adding punishment. Really nice. 3 Intis. So I wanted 3. I usually banish 1 off of Prosperity because you don't really need 3, but it might come up. Again, you can pop your own stuff, you can pop their stuff. Works really well with the Cosmos. 1 Fossil Key Warrior whatever thing. It's basically Intis, but an ignition effect. It's not trigger. So on your turn, you just banish it to pop a monster. I never use this during the event. Every time in testing, I always forget I freaking send it, so whatever. I might just cut it for something else. 1 Titaniclad. So this is a little weird because I like it in the deck because my Tin Can is usually my normal summon. So if I send this, I can special summon Ecclesia during the end phase and then add Fleur-de-Lis as an extra interruption. Other than that, you know, it's not too necessary. It's just it's just another way to get Ecclesia on board because I never summon from the extra deck to make its special summoning effect live. So 1 Dragon Master Knight, 5,000. Makes punishment get over pretty much everything.
Nice.
We do have a small Xyz package being Cyber Dragon Nova and Infinity, because you can overlay 2 Slip Riders into Nova, then go into Infinity.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't you use Dark Lady too? Cosmo Dark Lady?
No, it needs to be Light Machines.
Oh, okay, okay.
Never came up, ever. Never did it. These are 2 more targets I just get rid of off Prosperity, and these are the other 3 being Volcasaurus. Ooh. 2 level 5s burn. Can't attack, that's why you overlay in a Gaia Charger. Attack with Gaia Charger, overlay it on the Zeus.
Oh, wow, Zeus.
It never came up. I always banished them off Prosperity.
Oh.
But, you know, theoretically, it's nice to have.
Yeah.
Anima also never went into this. Theoretically nice, because Tin Can's a level 1.
Yeah.
And then 1 Farigit. So this is a bit weird to see. I like it because Cosmos brick hard, so I can send this off Nadir, add Ecclesia. This will trigger to draw a card and put a card on the bottom of the deck. So it kind of helps unbrick. That's the extra deck. During the event, I literally only went into Intis, and that's pretty much it. I didn't really go into anything else. Omega came up a little bit to shuffle stuff back, and because of its attack value, but it was just Intis. Just to pop stuff. The rest of it was just Prosperity fodder, and to kind of fake out my opponent thinking I actually care. So yeah, I got exactly 16th place with this mishmash of not even rogue strategy. It's probably even less than that. I played against Dinos round 1. Got totally stomped because of Denko Sekka. He was main decking it.
Wow.
Played Tri-Brigade Melfi. That was really fun. We ended up getting a draw. The entire first round, he saw just all Dogmatika traps, so he thought I was just playing a Dogmatika deck. Then boom, drew Tin Can, OTK'd him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I had so many ships in hand. I played Blue Eyes. That was a fun matchup. I played Salamangreat. Ice Dragon's Prison as a good card. I got wrecked by VW. I beat a couple friends too. It was a really fun event. It was awesome to play. Just a strategy nobody knew about. You know, a lot of times they're like, "What the hell does Cosmo do? What do I even side?" So that was a really fun mind game part of it. Yeah. So yeah, I think my total record was 4-2-1. I was pretty far from getting top 8. You know, exactly 16th, but maybe if I just planned better ahead and, didn't play against main deck Denko Sekka, I probably could have done a little bit more.
Main deck
changes
Denko Sekka. Bro.
Dude, it was nasty. and theoretically it makes a lot of sense because dinosaurs don't really need their normal summon.
Right.
Just normal Denko Sekka, send Misk, pop baby. Nice. Pretty nice.
Yeah, for real.
The changes I'd make for sure is cutting this. This card sucked. Back to the front. And then I cut 1 punishment. And then I'm going to try the Gamma package. Theoretically, this is nice because you can manipulate the board with the Cosmos.
Yeah.
So since they banish this cost, I can protect it, or my play starting with Nadir or Cosmo Town or something.
Couldn't you also, theoretically, if they activated something on your turn and you special both of those, couldn't you just synchro summon into Omega too?
And hand rep, of course.
Nice.
Something I liked using way back in the day was going into Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend.
Oh, yeah.
And blowing up the board and blowing up my Cosmos.
Make opponent burn for 500 for every special
summon
monster.
And I get advantage because my Cosmos are popped.
Right.
It's pretty nice.
That's not bad. It's pretty.
I wish I would have ran more hand traps. I'll probably do it in the side deck here on out. But I was pretty happy with the main deck. Just those small changes I would make. Overall, it was a fun time. And Damon wanted to get this profile because, top 16 with a poopy deck.
Yeah, you don't get to see that every day.
Yeah, represent St. James,
Represent
boys.
St. James. All right, well, thanks so much. If you're still here, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, please. Thank you. And see you guys in the next one.
Shout outs to my boys.